Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Jen's Junk. My name is Jen. For those of you who have watched my videos before, welcome back. And for those of you who are new to my channel, thank you for taking the time to check out this video. So today is a very special Valentine's Day edition, and I was inspired by some book YouTubers for this idea of counting down my top 5 favorite couples from literature. And I was kind of surprised by what I came up with, and I'm really excited to share my choices with you and to also find out what your top 5 favorite couples would be from literature as well. So let's go ahead and let's kick this off with my number 5 spot. And it is a couple from the classic Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. So here I am going to be talking about Marianne Dashwood and Colonel Brandon. So they come in at number 5. So here are two opposites. People that you would not necessarily think would get together. You've got Marianne, who is wild, she's free-spirited, she loves just living in the moment, just taking things as they come. And then you've got Colonel Brandon, who is almost the complete opposite. You know, very straightforward, very you know, he's from the military, so he has that background, so he's, you know, very loyal, and, you know, they don't necessarily get along at the beginning. Colonel Brandon shows some interest, and Marianne snobs him, pretty much. Snubs him, not snobs him. She kind of acts like a snob. But she snubs him at first. And I guess the age difference can be a little, but you know, when you think about it, it's actually a very beautiful story. And so this book kind of tells you about how their relationship grows. And of course, she is in love with another man, younger man. And when she falls ill, Colonel Brandon really makes himself indispensable, and she starts to realize how important he is to her and starts to care about him as well. And that, you know, turns into love. And of course they get married. And so they are just kind of an example of a wonderful couple, really, because Marianne really starts to see Colonel Brandon as her rock, as her center, and he grounds her. And so they really kind of play off of each other. Marianne kind of brings back fun and, you know, kind of some carefreeness to Colonel Brandon's life. So they really are a couple that balance each other out. And I think that's what makes their ultimate love story a beautiful one. So that is my top 5, Marianne and Colonel Brandon from Sense and Sensibility. All right, you guys, coming in at number 4 is actually another Jane Austen couple from Pride and Prejudice. And of course, I'm talking about, Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. Really. Seriously, how can they not be in my top 5 favorite couples in literature? So this is your classic, you know, meeting each other and making a first impression. And obviously their first impressions of each other are not good. And of course, over the story, throughout the story, they, of course, fall in love, they get to know each other, and they realize that their first impressions were just not true of each other. And so this is a lovely story. I love the two characters. They're both stubborn, opinionated, strong-willed, but they're very loyal and loving and caring, and that really comes through. And as they start to see the error of their ways of making quick judgments about each other, they fall in love. And so just a very, very classic couple. Which Pride and Prejudice is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Is it Colin Firth? It is for me. But anyway, so that is my top 4. You got Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, of course. Okay, so we're moving on down the line. We are at number 3. And number 3 is actually more of a recent novel, and it's actually a series. And it's a great series. I highly recommend it if you have not read the series yet. This is not the first book in the series, it's the second book in the series, but it's the All Souls Trilogy by Deborah Harkness. And these books are so fabulous, I have to say. They are some of my favorites, and I've read them more than once. And so the couple that I'm talking about, there's a lot of great couples in the series, don't get me wrong, but the couple I'm going to talk about is my favorite couple, and some of you who have read these books may be surprised by my choice, but I am talking about Philippe de Clermont and Ysabeau. Oh, I can't even pronounce her name. Ysabeau, his wife. I don't know how to pronounce it, it's French. But anyway, that's who I'm talking about from this series. Now, if you've read the series, they are apart. You don't really see them together. However, with their interactions with the rest of the characters, you really find out how much they love each other. And they are just great characters. I mean, I love Matthew and Diana, who are like the main couple of the series of novels, but Matthew's mother and father, who I'm talking about, Philippe and Ysabeau, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm so bad, really kind of came out on top for me as a favorite. And you've got, they're both strong-willed. Again, they're passionate, they're so intelligent, they're loyal. Their interactions with Matthew and with Diana and talking about each other, even though they're apart, you know that there's just a fabulous love story connecting them. And I think it would be wonderful, I know I'm going out on a limb here, but if Deborah Harkness would write a trilogy about them, it would be fabulous because I would love to know their story. But I highly recommend this series. The All Souls trilogy. Sorry, it's been a while since I've read these books, but I highly recommend them. They're very good. You've got vampires, you've got witches, you've got a lot of history entangled. It's just a really fun read, and it goes really fast. It's also a TV series as well, but it's a great series, so I highly recommend that. So that was my number 3. Now we're moving on to my top 2 favorite couples in literature, and coming in at number 2 is a couple that I absolutely adore. And this is coming from the book North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. And of course, I am talking about John Thornton. Of course, John Thornton and Margaret Margaret Hale. And this book is another classic, of course. And once again, we get two opposites. We meet Margaret Hale as a very strong, independent young woman, and she basically moves from the country to, I guess, the city, if you will, and she learns about the harsh working conditions in England with the mills, and she learns more about working conditions, social class, and she really becomes proactive in helping out make the conditions better. So of course, when she meets John Thornton, who is a mill owner, they're gonna butt heads. But basically in the process, they fall in love, and I just love the two characters. I love this book because it does show a lot more of John Thornton as well, and it has his thoughts as well as Margaret's thoughts too. So I do like that balance where you get both sides rather than just kind of like a one-sided, because I think he's such an intriguing character. So he's very kind of, uptight, working really hard, taking care of his mother and his younger sister. And, again, an unlikely couple. And I just love this book so much. I try to read it once a year, every year. And for those of you who do not know, it is actually a series from the BBC starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Richard Armitage, as John Thornton. And I highly recommend it if you have not seen it. It's just really, really good. I'm not biased or anything because Richard Armitage plays John Thornton, but I kind of am, but it's really, really good. So that is my second favorite all-time couple, John Thornton and Margaret. So Margaret Hale. All right, you guys, it is time to reveal my number one couple in literature. And this one, it was a little difficult to decide, but not really, if you know what I mean. But I am talking about the wonderful, wonderful series that I fell in love with, and the characters, so many great characters. And I am talking about the Poldark series from Winston Graham. And I am talking, of course, about Demelza and Poldark. So we've got Demelza Carn and we've got Ross Poldark. Again, this is a series of many, many books. And there are a lot of relationships and couples. And I just love Ross and Demelza, especially Demelza. She is my favorite. She is a spitfire. She is sassy. She is smart. She is funny, she's loyal, and I just love her character. Her character is much more mature, in my opinion, than Ross at sometimes. Sometimes Ross Poldark can be a little stinkerhead, if you know what I mean. For those of you who have read the books, you'll know what I mean. But really, their love story is quite beautiful. So of course, Ross rescues Demelza from a fairground fight, brings her into his home. She starts out kind of as a helping out with the chores and cleaning and whatever. And of course, they fall in love over time. And, she starts to learn the ways of society. And so there's a lot of humor. There's bittersweetness, of course, in it. But you get to see them grow as a couple. And again, if you get away from the age difference, you actually do forget about the age gap between them. You really do when you're reading these books. But Demelza I just love her character so much. And again, this is a series. It was on BBC America with Aidan Turner in it. I highly recommend it. It was a very, very well done series too. But it goes through their relationship, and it's just a remarkable series. It's a remarkable book, remarkable characters, and I just love Ross and Demelza, especially Demelza. She is like my favorite. And so I highly recommend you checking this out if you have not already. So those were my top 5 couples from literature. Let me know in the comments below if we have some of the same favorites. I do have a runner-up that I do have to fit in here as well. It's not so much a romance as a bromance, but of course I am talking about The Lord of the Rings, Sam and Frodo. Frodo would not have been able to do it without his Sam. Their friendship is so beautiful, and I have to include it in here because even though technically it's not romance, it is a beautiful relationship. And Frodo and Sam together is just their relationship, their friendship is like nothing you've ever seen. And honestly, if it had not been for Sam, Frodo would not have succeeded in the quest. And you know, Sam, to me, this is a whole other idea for a video, but for me, Sam really is the hero of The Lord of the Rings, because if it wasn't for Sam, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. Sam was loyal, steadfast. He would have done anything for Frodo, and Frodo would have done anything for Sam. And that kind of friendship you just don't see a lot of nowadays. And so I've got to give a shout out to Sam and Frodo from The Lord of the Rings, the true original bromance, you guys. All right, those are my picks for this Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you have not already. And thank you again for taking the time to watch this video on this Valentine's Day. I hope you guys are having a great one. And that is my video for today, celebrating my top 5 characters, or 6 favorite couples in celebration of Valentine's Day. All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, see you soon.